stage where the state also, when His Excellency, our former president, Flight Lieutenant
Rawlings, yeah,
was in the saddle,
right,
when he was head of state. He was also instrumental
Yeah.
in pushing.
I see him a lot in some of the fights.
Yes,
and
he's always very
ringside.
regular because
Yeah.
he himself was a boxer.
Got you.
He used to box
The
when he
military.
was in the military,
Right.
so he has a love for the sport. So
Right.
he's always at the ringside, and every time I see him, I can't help but say thank you to him. I say, look, your presence here is even drawing
It means
crowds
so
here.
much. Yes,
It means,
yes.
I mean, he's a good motivator for us.
Big time,
Yeah,
big
he
time.
does so much.
Yeah.
So during his time, they supported Azuma Nelson to the fullest.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those were the times when each time he was fighting, the state would go out of its way to pay for the coverage, and Ghanaians will sit up overnight
To watch.
watch. Old ladies, grandpas, grandmas, everybody will sit up
That is
to
amazing.
watch Azuma Nelson. That's
That
how
is
come
amazing.
they generated and sustained the interest in boxing. So the state can do better. Than they're
Yes,
doing now.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a good point you brought up, because I would think with names like that, like DK Poison, Azuma Nelson, who were world renowned, and I don't know if the folks within the country don't realize, or the ones that kind of make decisions in terms of funding and issues like that don't realize the impact that these names have on Ghana, because out here in the world, it's huge.
They do. Unfortunately, I think that it's a question of the priorities, They do. And anytime you meet the hierarchy, they'll tell you how they want to do so much for professional boxing, except that, there's a saying, I think it's a Liberian local parlance, they say, for talk we not buy am. So like they say, talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap, yeah.
So translate your talk
Into action.
Into action.
Yes.
And that's what I'm asking them
Yes,
to do. Unfortunately,
absolutely.
we are not
Absolutely.
getting that. We are not getting that.
As far as the issue of sponsorship goes, I understand your need to get the state to come on board or be more committed in terms of pushing for more money to be put into the sport and more resources to be put into the sport. But there are a lot of companies, multi-million-dollar companies that operate in Ghana, and these are big corporations, and I would feel like part of their corporate social responsibility would be to say, let's sponsor, because these are huge events. These are big names. These are guys whose names are on the global stage. So I would think a company would see the need or see the essence of being associated with boxing in Ghana, and they want to be an underwriter, sponsor of Ghanaian boxing.
Yes, certainly. Occasionally, we've had bits and pieces of this sponsorship coming in, but it's been largely ineffectual.
Okay.
There's so much more they could have done for us. Well, recently we reintroduced the boxing league. Years ago, we started a boxing league on a regular basis,
Right.
to unearth talents. It was mainly for boxers who, even though had turned professional, they were not getting the opportunities to fight.
Right.
So people who had less than 6 fights and all that, we used to have it, and we had some sponsorship from a company and a TV station and all that. It worked quite well until I think the finances dried up and it went under.
Oh boy.
And so after so many years, we managed to bring it back. And thankfully, we got GNPC, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation,
Right.
to come to our aid with the initial sponsorship. One of the banks, EDBA, Agricultural Development Bank, and then some others
Okay.
to come to our aid. It wasn't enough for us, the sponsorship, because
Right.
it's supposed to be a 26-week-long league, boxing
Okay,
league involving
okay.
various boxing clubs.
Right.
And this time we decided to have various categories. We have the juvenile category, the amateurs, and then the semi-professionals,
Gotcha.
and professional bouts as well. And we've done just about a quarter way through, and our well has dried up, so we've we've made further appeals for fresh sponsorship, and we're hoping that that will help a lot in the development of the sport.
Okay. Not to put you on the spot, but I would ask this: what is the projection in terms of what's going on with the league? And I know that the boxing, the championship fights, those are televised globally. But what is your situation in terms of projecting that league outside of Ghana, not just within Ghana on television?
Well, our expectation is that this league will eventually get a lot of coverage. You know, we in Ghana, SuperSport, DSTV is very popular.
Gotcha.
We're trying to get them to come on board.
Okay.
There are other television stations who are desirous of coming to our aid, and we believe that once we get that right, we'll be able to telecast it on a regular basis.
Gotcha.
And then showcase the sort of talents we have, and possibly get others who are sitting on the fence
On the
to
fence.
come and say, hey, why don't we assist these people? Because we are doing this for a purpose. Apart from the professional side of it, where we want to nurture and produce world champions, the juvenile and amateur side is very important.
Right.
With the juveniles, we are having an All Africa Games in 2023. So if we have some juveniles now who, at a certain age, are performing well, our projections are that in 4 years' time,
4 years' time.
they should be ready to don the national colours.
There you go.
During the boxing segment
Right.
of the All Africa Games.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, so it's a way of feeding the national teams with the potentials so that they can harness them.
And the reason why I asked the question about the projection of that league on TV and making sure it goes beyond the borders of Ghana, obviously a lot of people are interested in boxing in Ghana. Just in case if you didn't know that now a lot of people who, from the outside world are really keenly interested in what goes on with boxing in Ghana. Because the reason why I'm asking that is because there's a direct correlation between media exposure and sponsorship.
Yeah.
So a lot of sponsors want to have their brand seen, not just within the borders, but globally as well. Yeah. So if they're doing something good for you guys, that will be a draw for them. So you tie the two together, and that's part of what we call fan engagement. Trying to get the fans to be more interested in what goes on in Ghana. And that's a pretty good event you got. But like I said, that's the dynamics that would.
I think admittedly, there's a lot more we need to do.
Right.
To engage the media and to get that side of our sport popularized. There's a lot we need to do. So we've been. We went back to engage one of our former presidents as a consultant for this boxing league, and he's doing wonderfully well. And we are hoping that's Moses Fuamoni, a very popular name in sports in Ghana, not only in boxing but in soccer circles and all that.
Okay.
He should have been here with us for this fight.
Right.
I think there was some hitch; he couldn't make it.
Okay.
But we are counting a lot on those who are in the media who really give a lot of publicity to
like Sammy,
Sammy
Ewudukai,
and
yes,
Prince Donu.
Right.
They are doing wonderfully well for us.
Yes.
And a whole host of others, Nats Ato, Eko Asma.
Right.
They've been in boxing for so many years, and we are very grateful for all the efforts they are putting in.
Wonderful.
Just to, keep us going.
Yes. Yes. Now, let me segue into the issue of infrastructure. You have a lot of boxing gyms, around the city.
Yes. We in fact, the thing about professional boxing in Ghana, well, both amateur and professional, is that there's a particular tribe in Ghana who produced 99% of our world champions, and that's the Ghans.
Right.
The Ghana tribe is spelled G-A, Ghana.
Right.
Yeah. And the antecedents and historically, practically all our world champions have hailed from those places. Even those who are not Ghans, they've had some sort of association with the Ghans. Either they were born in that vicinity, they are not Ghans, and they've all become world champions.
Right.
it's been said that maybe their culture and then their meals that they take account for,
For that pedigree.
Yeah. They take a very popular meal in Ghana called kinky.
Kinky, yeah.
Call it Ghana kinky and fish.
Right.
And
Okay.
pepper.
All right.
It's, when you visit, we'll treat you to something.
I hear you. Thank you for that.
And it doesn't involve any fat.
Got you.
It makes them
Keeps
very
you lean
strong.
and mean.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
But
right.
I think that they have a culture right from their infancy. The young ones, they engage in communal fighting.
Got you.
Yes, communal fighting to see who is tough and all that. And that's what has brought out the best in them over the years.
right.
So practically all our champions come from there. Now, so when you talk about our infrastructure, we have a whole host of boxing gyms dotted around Accra, the capital, particularly in central Accra,
Right.
where boxing, people eat, sleep, and drink boxing. When I say central Accra, I mean Jamestown and Bukom. Bukom is a popular area.
Right. I was going
Had a lot of
to go into
documentaries.
Bukom, yeah. Because
So that's where it all started. And the gyms are nothing to write home about, except for one or two which are very well,
well kept in.
yes, most of them are makeshift,
Well, I mean
structures.
that's part of the
And
story,
that's, and that's the wonder,
Yeah.
because people come from outside, they visit those gyms, and they wonder, but how are these people able to produce world champions? Because you find one solitary punching bag which is partly torn and has been patched up.
Oh boy.
You find the wheel of a vehicle, a lorry,
Right.
a tie,
Yes.
being used,
Yes.
as some form of, device. You find a bare concrete floor. There are no ropes for the ring.
Right.
Sometimes they take chalk and mark the
Mark the
four
floor.
corners, and there are two pugilists inside, with sometimes torn gloves. Some even use bandages and rags to,
But I think that's the uniqueness about what we're talking about here in terms of a culture, because now when you look at that and the humble beginnings we're talking about and what it takes to become a champion and to ignore all those the modern amenities and go to having to come through with all those inconvenience, if you want to call it inconvenience, but I guess it's part of what makes them hungry,
Yes. I
succeed.
mean, yeah. You know, in boxing, if you are not hungry enough, you can't progress.
There you
need
go.
to be very hungry.
Yes.
So they look at their situation, their condition, and they swallow their pride and get it done. And so when they get to where the facilities are and all that, they excel. Because
yeah.
if the man was doing his very best under trying
Without
conditions,
nothing, yes.
and then suddenly finds himself in a modern gym,
Right.
where all the speedballs and bags and
Right.
everything is there, then,
Yeah.
then that is where they surely excel.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
the humble beginnings also help a lot.
Definitely,
Takes them through
definitely.
a lot of hardship.
Yeah.
They have to be psyched up
Right.
to understand that you have to go through this,
Right.
and it will get better one day.
One day.
Yeah.
Bukom Boxing Arena as a novelty in I said novelty for Ghana and then for the rest of for Africa, say for South Africa and maybe some other North African countries. What has that done for boxing?
It's done great deal for us, and I would like to pay homage and to thank ex-President John Mahama
Yeah.
for putting up this edifice for us, because
Right.
for years we had been clamoring for it. We said, look, this is a boxing nation.
Right.
We've produced all the world champions, and we have nothing to show for it. Let's have a boxing arena, a hall of fame, and all that, And thankfully, in the year 2016, we got that.
Right.
We got that boxing arena, and it served us wonderfully well. When I say it served us, hitherto the promoters were having difficulties, venues for fights and all that. Sometimes the stadium was too big
Okay.
for
Yeah.
small fights,
Right.
and so they had to pay a lot. Yes, but this one is very compact. Even though the capacity could have been enhanced if we had known from the beginning.
Right.
It's a 5,000 seater, but it serves as well. Since it was opened, practically all the major fights we've had have been staged there. The promoters are happy with that place.